welcome to the video. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on how the bulk has been progressing. So I've been basically stalled around the 109 kilo mark for the past couple of weeks, and this is perfectly normal. During gaining phases, you're just not going to be able to gain forever on the same food intake. You're going to run into plateaus. So in this video, I'd like to explain how I deal with these plateaus during gaining phases. So how can we continue to progress and improve? Our first thing to consider is, are we truly in a plateau? If you haven't been compliant to your calorie targets, then you're probably not truly plateaued. You're just not following the plan. So sort that shit out as fast as you can. If you've been weight stable for a few days, that doesn't necessarily mean you've hit a plateau either, because we need to remember that long-term weight gain during bulking phases is never going to be linear. You're never going to gain consecutively day after day. That's why it's most important to look at the weekly average body weight change. If 2 weeks have gone by and you haven't achieved your desired rate of progress on either of those weeks and you've been compliant, then you're probably stalled and it's time to add some food. My last 3 weekly averages have been 110.1, 109.7, and 109.1. So this is what I would consider a plateau, back-to-back weeks where the weekly average hasn't trended in the desired direction or at the desired rate. Our next step is to decide how much food to add when we hit these plateaus. If you've been gaining successfully for at least a month or two and you've run into a plateau, I recommend increasing your calories by 5 to 10%. A 5% increase is generally advisable if you're on the higher end of body fat, or if you're quite deep into your gaining phase, you've been gaining for a long period of time. When you're fatter and you've been gaining for a long time, the body doesn't seem to be as receptive to large calorie bumps anymore or muscle growth. Alternatively, you would lift your calories by 10% if you're still quite lean or you're just in the early phases of your gaining phase. Our final step is to decide where these calories should come from. Assuming your protein is already in check, adding more protein is not going to help us. So we are left to then add either carbs or fats. Most of the time, I am going to recommend adding carbs because they are more anabolic than fats, as they activate insulin-mediated anabolic pathways. They improve high-intensity weight training performance, and they are the preferred energy source for the nervous system, which means they are very good for dissipating fatigue. With all that said, sometimes we reach a point in the bulk where we find it very difficult to stomach or get down the large food volumes. In these situations, it can be quite smart to add fats instead of carbs, as fats are very energy dense and they don't increase food volumes to any large degree. So those are basically the main considerations that I would make when deciding what macros to add to fill the calorie increase requirements when you've run into a bulking plateau. I am quite deep into my bulk now, so I'm only going to be adding 5% to my calories this week to address this weight plateau that I've run into. Now, this works out for me to be an additional 230 calories. My hunger isn't very high right now, so I'm going to split it between carbs and fats to find sort of a midpoint. So roughly half and half. By adding 90 calories from fats and 140 calories from carbs, this is going to equate to my necessary calorie increase. I do hope that helps, guys. Knowing when to make changes to your intake and what changes to make during a gaining phase, they are really the keys to a successful bulk. But yes, guys, got the new Koshiro teas dropping very, very soon. So we've got the Goku Rosé dropping, as well as the Majin Buu It took me a while to really knock out the perfect design, like with the oversized fit and the heavy cotton, but I'm stoked with how they turned out. Now, after a few sample runs, so these are going to be live very, very soon. Keep an eye out for those. All right guys, we are about to hit a pool day from the Growth of Gone program. We have special guests in the house, IFBB Pro, Paulie Boo. He's gonna join us for today. So the pool workout is going to be lat dominant. We ain't about that deadlift life. I actually think deadlifts are pretty overrated as a bodybuilding exercise. Great for building strength, but in terms of building a chunk of mass around the lower back and the spinal erectors, not super aesthetic. So we're looking for a lot of lat movements today that'll help us get that sweep and that nice V taper. And if anyone knows about the V taper, it's this man. So it's gonna be a good one. We're gonna hit it hard. Let's get it.